Every child has a time in their early years when they come to understand that despite their little size, a pet like a fish may actually provide them a great deal of joy and satisfaction. My fish, Pink and Purple, was a highlight of my childhood, and yes, it's only one fish, despite its name. Pink and Purple was not just an ordinary fish, they were a constant in my childhood. They swam in circles for years, teaching me patience and responsibility, and sometimes a beginning sensation of shame when I went a week without feeding them. As someone who fed Pink and Purple, well, at least 75% of the time, I feel qualified to talk about their glorious yet tragically brief time with us. Today I will celebrate the life of Pink and Purple by talking about their significance in my childhood, their death, and also acknowledging the lesson they taught me about responsibility. I'll start by discussing the significance that Pink and Purple held for me as a child. We'll then go into my heartbreaking realization that they hadn't eaten in days. Lastly, I'll consider their passing affected my feeling of responsibility. To begin, let's talk about the role Pink and Purple played in my childhood. Long before I accidentally became the worst pet owner ever. Pink and Purple was not only my first pet, but my first fish. They brought me joy and happiness. When I first got Pink and Purple, they were small and vibrant, swimming around and having fun. Pink and Purple gave me a sense of responsibility, teaching me how to care for something other than myself. They weren't just a fish, they were one of my best friends as a kid. Just knowing that I had something of my own as a kid really gave me a lot of joy and happiness. I got to pick them out, name them, pick out their tank, and care for them. However, nice things do come to an end. Pink and Purple's tragic death occurred shortly after I became preoccupied with life. Let's talk about that fateful week. Cause of death, my complete failure to feed them. One day, I walked into my room to find Pink and Purple just floating, and by floating, I mean complete stillness. At first, I thought they were playing dead, but I was wrong. I looked to see an empty food container, my heart dropped. The guilt hit harder than any lesson about responsibility could ever. I may not have the best track record in remembering Pink and Purple's meals. I learned that responsibility isn't just about intentions, it's about actions, and I certainly learned that the hard way. Now that we've covered the sad cause of their death, let's reflect on what Pink and Purple taught me about responsibility, and why their loss actually helped me grow. Pink and Purple's death taught me the importance of responsibility. One of the most significant events of my childhood was losing Pink and Purple. It's ironic that a small fish could teach me such a big lesson. But it did. I promised myself that I would never forget again, and that promise has stayed with me. Even though the loss was extremely upsetting, it served as a reminder that all living things, regardless of how tiny or unimportant they may appear, require respect and care. Finally, even though Pink and Purple is no longer with us, their memory lives on as a lesson to always remember, particularly when it comes to feeding your pets. To sum up, Pink and Purple taught me about love, responsibility, and sometimes devastating results of forgetting. They were more than simply fish to me. First, Pink and Purple was a very memorable pet in life. Second, their death was all my fault because I forgot to feed them. Lastly, their death taught me an important lesson of responsibility. I will always remember Pink and Purple as the fish that taught me one of the most valuable lessons of my childhood. Don't forget to feed your pets. I hope they are at peace, and their memory will be remembered each time I feed my current pets, and perhaps even as a reminder.